What happens when you push the most disciplined man in baseball past his breaking point? Shohei Ohtani is known for many things. The two-way dominance. The quiet focus. The unshakable routine. The smile that never wavers even when the pressure is at its highest. He is the player who eats plain pasta with salt and calls it delicious. The man who wakes up before the sun to prepare while others are still sleeping. The athlete who has turned self-control into an art form. But on this day, in front of thousands of fans, under the bright stadium lights, with cameras pointed from every direction, something cracked. A Diamondbacks coach crossed a line. And Shohei Ohtani, the man the world thought was unshakable, erupted. What exactly was said? What pushed him to that moment? And what does this incident reveal about the fire burning beneath that calm, professional surface? Stay with us. Because this story goes much deeper than one moment of anger on a baseball field. To understand what happened, you first need to understand the weight Ohtani carries every single time he steps onto that field. This is not a regular player walking into a regular game. When Shohei Ohtani arrives at the stadium, the entire energy shifts. Teammates feel it. Opponents feel it. Even coaches who have spent decades in this league admit there is something different about the way Ohtani commands a space without ever demanding it. He doesn't trash talk. He doesn't engage in mind games. He doesn't even respond to provocations the way most elite competitors do. His weapon has always been performance. His answer to doubt has always been results. His response to pressure has always been preparation. That is the Ohtani the world knows. So when reports began circulating that Ohtani had charged toward a Diamondbacks coach during a heated on-field confrontation, the baseball world stopped. Social media exploded. Fans couldn't believe what they were hearing. Analysts scrambled for context. Because this wasn't supposed to happen. Not to him. Not like this. But here's the truth that many people are missing in the chaos of the headlines. This moment didn't come from nowhere. The relationship between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Arizona Diamondbacks has never been comfortable. These are two teams that know each other well, compete in the same division, and carry a history of tense matchups that often go beyond the scoreboard. When divisional rivals meet, the stakes are different. Every at-bat carries extra meaning. Every pitch is a statement. Every word exchanged on that field echoes louder than it would in a regular series against a team from across the country. And the Diamondbacks, to their credit, have never been intimidated by the Dodgers' star power. Their coaching staff is known for being aggressive, vocal, and willing to use psychological pressure as a tool. This is not unusual in baseball. Mind games are part of the sport. Getting inside a hitter's head, disrupting a pitcher's rhythm, making the opponent uncomfortable, these are strategies as old as the game itself. But there is a difference between strategy and disrespect. There is a line between competitive intensity and personal provocation. On this day, that line was crossed. The moment unfolded in a way that nobody in that stadium expected. Ohtani had been locked in all game. His focus, as always, was visible in the way he carried himself between at-bats. Calm. Deliberate. Purposeful. But the Diamondbacks coaching staff had clearly done their homework. And not on his swing mechanics or his pitch selection. On him. On what might get under his skin. On where the cracks might be, if any existed at all. The taunting began subtly at first. Words exchanged near the dugout. Comments made just loud enough to be heard. The kind of low-level psychological warfare that happens in baseball all the time and rarely escalates beyond a cold stare or a dismissive shrug. Ohtani gave nothing back. He stayed in his lane. He kept his focus. He was doing exactly what every sports psychologist would tell you to do in that situation. But the Diamondbacks coach pushed further. The words became sharper. More personal. Targeted not at his performance, but at something deeper. Something that touched on who Ohtani is beyond the white lines of the baseball field. And that was the moment everything changed. Ohtani's body language shifted. The calm that had defined his entire afternoon gave way to something raw and unfiltered. His jaw tightened. His eyes locked onto the coach with an intensity that immediately drew the attention of everyone nearby. Teammates sensed it. Umpires sensed it. The crowd, even without knowing the exact words that had been exchanged, sensed that something serious was unfolding in real time. And then Ohtani moved toward him. Not a step of hesitation. Not a glance at teammates to gauge the reaction. A direct, purposeful charge toward the Diamondbacks coach that sent both benches onto the field within seconds. The reaction was immediate and overwhelming. Players from both sides flooded out of the dugouts. Coaches and umpires moved in to separate them before the situation could escalate further. Voices were raised. Umpires intervened quickly and efficiently, which likely prevented a situation that could have resulted in serious consequences for Ohtani and potentially for the outcome of the game itself. Warnings were issued. Both sides were separated. The confrontation was physically over within minutes. But the conversation it started? That was just beginning. In the stands, fans pulled out their phones. Clips spread across social media within minutes of the incident happening. By the time the final out of the game was recorded, the story had already gone global. International media picked it up. Japanese sports outlets ran it as their lead story. Baseball fans who hadn't been watching the game scrambled to find footage and context. Because what they had witnessed wasn't just a heated moment in a regular season game. They had witnessed something that almost no one believed was possible. They had witnessed Shohei Ohtani lose his composure. But here is where this story becomes truly interesting. Because the real question isn't what the coach said. The real question is what this moment reveals about Ohtani as a human being, and why it actually makes him more compelling, not less. There is a version of this story that treats Ohtani's reaction as a flaw. A crack in the armor. Evidence that even the greatest can be broken down if you know exactly where to push. That version of the story is wrong. What we witnessed on that field was not weakness. It was humanity. For years, the baseball world has quietly wrestled with an uncomfortable question about Ohtani. The question nobody fully says out loud but everyone thinks about. Is he real? Is any human being actually capable of the kind of sustained, unwavering excellence and composure that he displays day after day, season after season? Or is there a carefully constructed image? This moment answered that question. Ohtani is real. Completely, entirely, undeniably real. He has limits. He has triggers. He has things that matter to him so deeply that no amount of professional discipline can fully contain the response when those things are threatened or disrespected. That is not a character flaw. That is the mark of someone who genuinely cares. Someone who is not going through the motions. Someone for whom this is not just a job or a performance, but something deeply personal. The most dangerous athletes in the world are not the ones who feel nothing. They are the ones who feel everything and channel it correctly, most of the time. The question that every Dodgers fan, every baseball analyst, and every opponent is now asking is simple. What does this do to Ohtani going forward? History tells us that moments like this rarely break elite athletes. More often, they ignite them. When a competitor of Ohtani's caliber reaches a boiling point and then regains control, which he did, quickly and professionally, what typically follows is a performance of extraordinary focus and intensity. The fire that was briefly exposed doesn't disappear. It gets redirected. It gets channeled back into preparation, into at-bats, into pitching outings, into the relentless pursuit of results that has defined his entire career. The Diamondbacks coach may have believed he was disrupting Ohtani. May have believed that getting a reaction was a victory. May have thought that introducing chaos into Ohtani's mental space would carry over into his performance and give Arizona an edge. But those who truly understand elite sports performance know a different truth. You don't want to wake that up in someone like Ohtani. The calm, disciplined, routine-focused version of Ohtani is already the best baseball player on the planet. The version of Ohtani who has been pushed, provoked, and disrespected? That version has something to prove. And there is nothing in baseball more dangerous than Shohei Ohtani with something to prove. This incident also opens up a wider conversation about respect in the modern game. Baseball has always had an unwritten code. A set of standards about what is acceptable and what crosses the line. Competitive intensity is celebrated. Genuine disrespect is not. The difference matters, and every veteran player and coach in the league understands where that boundary sits. What the Diamondbacks coach did may have been tactically motivated. But tactics have consequences. And when those consequences involve one of the most beloved and respected figures in the sport reacting in a way that shocks the entire baseball world, the tactic has to be questioned. Was it worth it? Did it achieve anything beyond a viral moment and a wave of criticism directed at the Arizona organization? The answer, based on everything we know about Ohtani and how he responds to adversity, is almost certainly no. So what do we take from this moment? We take the reminder that greatness is not the absence of emotion. It is the ability to manage emotion at the highest level, in the highest pressure moments, day after day. And even the greatest among us reach a point where management gives way to reaction. We take the reminder that Shohei Ohtani is not a machine. He is a man. A man who has dedicated his entire life to a standard of excellence that most of us cannot fully comprehend. A man who carries the weight of an entire nation's expectations every single time he picks up a bat or takes the mound. And on this day, for one brief, electric, unforgettable moment, he couldn't. The Diamondbacks coach pushed the wrong man. And the baseball world got a glimpse of what burns underneath the calm surface of the greatest player of this generation. The real question now is not what happened on that field. The real question is what Ohtani does next. And if history is any guide, the Diamondbacks should be very, very worried.